spring at Tampa, which reminds us that our next event on our television schedule will come up from Tampa, Tampa Stadium. In fact, the American Invitational. We invite you to join us for that. Let's get a look here at Abdullah.
Now, this, of course, the combination Abdullah and Conrad Homfeld, who were the members of the gold medal winning team at the '84 Olympics in LA. In addition, this combination was the silver medal winning team in the individual competition, losing to their teammate Joe Fargis in touch of class. Now, Conrad cleaned through the first 5 efforts on course, 5 numbered efforts, turning back to the water. And again, a combination clearly has proven without any question that at their best, they are the best. The LA Olympics, I think they peaked as far as their competitive ability, at least up until that point. But a young man, again, whom the United States has to be looking at very, very hard for the Olympics in 1988. And this is the beginning of the road today, as we mentioned, to '88 Olympics. The serious looking, the serious preparation begins right here on these grounds today. Conrad Homfeld with no fault so far, turning to the final line. A little bit of a hard ride there to number 11, but gets across that easily. Clean to number 12, just 2 to go. And tears down 13A. Unfortunately, 4 faults for Abdullah and Conrad Homfeld. And that's an upset.
A close ride. Nearly a clean round, but not quite for Abdullah and Conrad Homfeld. So disappointment very close to the finish.
Now we see the turn back to the final line of jumps. Watch Conrad in the ride here. His horse backing up a little bit there and gets to be a little bit of a hard ride to jump number 11. That preparation, you look at these 4 jumps in a row, is almost one effort if you're a horse or a rider. He didn't pay for that until 13A, where he dragged the rail down with the hind end, but the trouble began at number 11, about 2 jumps earlier.
Performing on playback, Rodney Jenkins. He was the winner at Las Colinas, Irving, Texas in 1986. And of course, what more can you say about Rodney Jenkins, and maybe the greatest?
I think with very little question, I'd say, again, the best our sport's ever seen. No question in my mind, certainly, for whatever it's worth. This young man and this horse, toward the end of last year, seemed to be rounding into some pretty incredible form. This horse, as we mentioned a number of times, gets as airborne, gets as high as any horse on the tour today. Rodney with no faults now as he turns back to the water on playback. And I know a horse that Rodney's looking for a great deal of success from. Good effort with Rodney now, with a little bit of a hard horse to ride to number 7, and Rodney handles that particular problem better than anybody in the world. Clean now through the triple combination without a rub through any part of that, and there are very few that have done that today. Rodney Jenkins is, at the very least, I think, going to put a horse in a position to jump. And when I say that, I mean physically set a horse up to jump better than any man in the world probably ever has. A horse this talented can be a little bit amazing once he gets into the air. Rodney with no fault so far, and nails number 13B. However, that's an upset for 4 faults for Rodney Jenkins on playback.
Boy, what a disappointment. He's really something to watch. That was tremendous to watch Rodney Jenkins, and then to have that disappointment at the last effort.
And that's just a masterful ride, a textbook ride, as we see Rodney begin the final line. That's number 11. Holds his horse off beautifully off of number 12. Rodney a little bit different, as you notice, in the air than many, but again, holding his horse off of number 13A well. Now the press to get him out of 13B, the hind end comes up and just gently rolls the top rail on the right-hand side. That's not a hard rub, but it cost him 4 faults. A great ride by the greatest I think our sport's ever seen.
This is Joe Fargis. He's a bit of a local favorite, spends a lot of time in West Palm Beach. Joe Fargis of Olympic fame on Touch of Class.
And you mentioned of Olympic fame still at this particular point in time. This horse and rider combination, the most famous in our country's history, members of the gold medal winning team in LA. This combination won the individual competition for the individual gold in LA also. Joe Fargis with a hard rub at 4B, but clean through the first 5 efforts on course. And this horse making it look very easy so far. I haven't really talked to Joe about what, if any, prospects he has about returning this horse to the Olympics in '88, but showing this early on in '87, you'd sure have to think so. And this horse is clean through the first 7 efforts on course. A light rub at 8C and 8B both. Joe Farges clean as he turns back to the Michelob vertical number 9. And a hard rub there, and he got lucky there. Usually if you hit that hard, that's been on the ground. But Joe Farges is still clean now, turning back to the final 4 efforts on course. Hind rub and 4 faults at number 11 for a touch of class in Joe Farges. And that's what he'll carry to the final 2 efforts. And just those 4 faults at number 11, a bit of an upset there for Joe Farges.
Joe Farges in touch of class, able to get by number 9, which has been the real tough obstacle on this course, but number 11 gets it.
And we see the turn back to the 4th to last jump on course. Joe with a beautiful ride to it. His horse shifting his hind end to the side and starting to throw his hind end a little bit to the left earlier on. Caught it on the way up for just the 4 faults. Not a hard rub, but enough to cost Joe the 4. And 4 faults for touch of class.
10 horses clean in the first round. Thus, there'll be a tiebreaker. And these 10 horses
will be ridden by Michael Matz.
Michael Matz, a 2-time winner of this event already. He'd love to make it 3.
Lewis Jacobs, very young, on Desiree.
On the horse that
will compete in the jump-off on Abdullah.
Well, the greatest in our country's history, the 2-time gold medal winner in the Olympics. We're going to see it again, maybe.
Jem Twist and Greg Best have had a great year.
The greatest rookie year in the history of our sport on a very, very fast horse.
So Jenkins will be the first competitor in the upcoming jump-off in the 1987 Michelob Prescott Grand Prix. On Czar, 7 clean rounds in the first round of competition. Rodney Jenkins will start it off. Of course, time will be more of a factor here in the jump-off than it was in the first round. He leads the way in the Rider of the Year competition. Won at Upperville, won at Devon Hills, won the U.S. Open Jumping Championship all earlier this year on the AGA circuit. Rodney Jenkins.
Back on top of the heap, there's no question about that as Rodney begins his approach to the very first fence on course. And trying to slice through the timers in such a way that he'll save time. And now he'll have the sharp inside turn back to the original jump number 10, a 5-foot vertical. And he's clean to that. Now the sharp left-hand turn back to the Michelob vertical at 5 feet 3 inches tall also. And 4 faults there. He nails that one. With the turn back now to the first jump on course, that's jump number 1. Rodney Jenkins and Czar carrying 4 faults so far as they begin their turn back to the final 2 efforts in the jump off course, jumps number 13 and 14, the final 2 jumps in the first round of competition. And Rodney's going to be clean over them with a 4 fault score and a time of 40.7.
Keep the time in mind. The best time with the fewest faults will determine the winner. Czar, ridden by Rodney Jenkins with 4 faults.
It's hard having to go first, and Rodney showing everybody else the way a little bit. They know that they can go clean.
Joe Farges on Abdullah, the 5th of 7 here in the jump-off. The leader is Lewis Jacobs. He had a clean jump-off in 38.5 seconds on Desiree. And Joe Farges, as we mentioned, in 1984, winner of 2 gold medals in the Los Angeles Olympics. And the crowd very much behind Joe Farges.
You know, I can't help but think that maybe the selection committee from the Pan Am Games might be too. And it'd be a very easy decision to have your 2 gold medal winner from '84 win this event today. Make their job very easy. Joe opting to go around the wide approach to the 3rd fence on the jump-off course, but carrying a great deal more pace there than Louis Jacobs did. And a little bit of a hustle now after that. Joe did take the same long track that Louis Jacobs took after the 2nd fence on the course. However, carrying it, just walks all over that one now for 4 faults. Just got to a very uncomfortable distance at the 5th fence on the jump-off course. He's going to be quick, but those 4 faults. Setting up for the very last, and he'll carry just the 4 faults and a 38.7, and Louis Jacobs is safe for at least 1 more.
Joe Farges looking to finish high in the money on Abdullah with that 4-fault performance.
Was Captain Birdsall on the naturals, and this Big Apple competition counts for both individual and team standings. The World Cup, by the way, will be held this year in Sweden. So we'll be keeping you posted now because the standings are very important. The leading open jumper rider, the leading international rider, and the team points. Right now, Katie Monahan-Prudent leads the open jumper rider. Joe Fargas leading Eon Miller for the international rider. And USA leads France for team points. And now the second rider coming up, touch of class, Joe Fargas.
Well, we have our gold medal winner from the Los Angeles Olympics, Joe Fargas, and as Bob mentioned a moment ago, Joe is right in there in the race for leading rider here, and this is the mare he rode to his gold medal victory in Los Angeles. This is a little bit of a mare. You can see Joe is a tall fellow, but this is just a tiny mare, a thoroughbred mare. And this course is quite a testy course. There's a lot of rails out here, a lot of airy fences, and they're all set very, very high. We say this is the finale, the biggest class here at the Garden. National, international riders. And 4 faults there. Remember the scoring now: 4 faults for a knockdown, 3 for the first refusal, 6 for the second, and third is elimination. Joe Torre of Great Britain set the standard here with a clean round. And Joe comes up with 4 faults now, 4 faults for Joe Fargas, and touch of class for the United States.
And for touch of class, and Joe Fargas, 4 faults, a knockdown at the vertical flanks, 9 feet.
And takes it away from Nick Skelton, who won it for the last 3 years, 1984, 85, and 86. Previous to that, it was won by Mario Delorier of the Canadian equestrian team, and Katie Monahan, who we just saw walk off with the leading open jumper rider award. And of course, before her, Rodney Jenkins in 1981. It was the French turn in 1980. Michael Matson, 879. And the Irish were over here. Remember the Irish equestrian team, Bob? They were the great favorites here at the Garden. Con Powers won it in 78. And Buddy Brown, who we saw ride before, won it in 77. Now our national anthem.
Once again, Joe Fargas of the United States equestrian team, the winner of the Barney Perpetual Trophy, his name being added to the names of
William Joshua Barney Jr. is the chairman of the board of directors, and Henry L. Collins III, chairman of the show committee, and John Franzreb is the show manager. You can be very proud of this 104th final night and all the activities which have taken place during the week. Very varied group of classes.
It looks very small on that horse, but he's about 6'3".
This is the USA team. They're the leading team at the horse show this year. They're getting ready to make their entrance for the International Team Championship.
for this award. We now turn to page number 171.
Peter Doubleday on the microphone across the way, the PA system, and he'll be introducing the USA team, which is hoping to repeat at the Olympics coming up as well. Vince Woolley is making his way out with the coaching horn for the introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, the performance now for our top team during the week.
Tuesday in our international division, the SoCo American Horse Show Association Challenge Trophy that is offered. And again, the SoCo Corporation